1973, Skull Island. A scientist escapes and encounters a cliff. Just as it seems all hope is lost, a crab emerges from the ground and falls into the sea with the spider. In the chaos, he loses his bag. In 2013, fishermen find the bag, but the worker conceals the discovery. Kate arrives in Tokyo and experiences flashbacks of Godzilla's attacks. During the trip, she sees that missiles have been placed around the city. The driver says it's for protection against possible monster attacks. Upon finding the correct address, Kate sees that the front door is open for some unknown reason. She cautiously enters the apartment and finds a woman inside who is confused about why a stranger has entered her home. Kato attempts to explain that she attended her father's funeral. However, the family is unaware of the girl's identity. In Kazakhstan in 1959, Dr. Keiko discovers herself in a radioactive zone. Unfortunately, there exists a risk of death in the presence of titanium. The group proceeds deeper into the protected area once they unlock it. A man emerges and dismisses radiation as a fable, much to the curiosity of those present. The government allegedly opened a hole to hell, according to local sources. Shortly after, they stumbled upon a massive base where radiation levels abruptly dropped. This confirmed the man's theories. In real time, Kate provides family photos as proof of her identity before leaving behind the keys. The scientist continues to explore the unoccupied base. They are now able to plant the explosives safely. The explosion creates a void, confirming their theory as everything starts collapsing even further. After leaving the site, phone lines are cut and sirens go off citywide. Kentaro informs everyone that Godzilla is on its way, causing people to run in panic towards the shelter. He thinks it's a routine drill. Kate is worried it's not a drill after surviving a Godzilla attack as a child. The monster destroyed everything, and the US Army couldn't stop it with their useless weapons. This thought caused her to have a panic attack. Scientists have found Titan eggs, possibly a new species. To be sure, they need to take a sample. The soldier assigned to watch them thinks it's dangerous, but they won't listen to him. And in Tokyo, the siren turns out to be a drill. Kentaro takes the girl to their father's workplace. According to Kentaro, the father was a satellite developer, but Kate hints that it's more serious than that. Behind the schematic was a safe the guy didn't know about. The code was their birthday numbers. The safe contained a Skull Island scientist's bag. The logo is exactly the same as the soldiers on the day of Godzilla's attack. May helps them open the data vault. She takes them to her apartment where she has everything they need. And since old military technology is now freely available, hacking into the hard drive was no problem. But what they didn't know was that the Monarch organization would receive a hacking alert. They were able to pinpoint the general location, Tokyo, but the man asks not to tell anyone about it. He'll figure it out on his own. There was a map on one of the files, but what it means they don't know. San Francisco, 2014. Kate finds her father. According to him, he needs to leave urgently. But in this envelope are passes for Kate and her mother, and though she tried to stop him, he needed to leave. But a week later, they get a call with the news that their plane is missing in a storm. A little while later, they find a picture of the grandmother who her father said died in his action. But then why is she standing in the print? The scientists get close to the eggs. Keiko collects a couple of samples. Suddenly, the eggs start to burst. The little titans run to attack. There were too many of them, causing Keiko to fall to her lowest point. Manila, 1952. Lieutenant Shaw is assigned to escort a Japanese scientist. It turns out to be Dr. Keiko, but back in Tokyo, Kentaro arrives at his father's office and starts smashing everything in his path. One of the drawers turns out to be locked, and it's Kate's keys that fit into it. It contained the Monarch's folder with Lieutenant Shaw's complete file. He and Keiko decide to stop, where William Rando is so fortunate to be hiding. According to him, he's studying unknown animals, and from the looks of it, they have the same goal. In Tokyo, Kate decides to fly home. At the airport, the Monarch's man comes out to her, and to make sure she isn't going anywhere, he asks her to tell him about the files. Kate tries to run away but is quickly caught, and to make sure she doesn't recognize the way, Tim puts a black bag over her head. She has a panic attack and knocks out the driver with one punch. Then she runs away. Kentaro goes to his friend's house to give her his new find. At home, he and his mother look at old photographs. One of them had a lieutenant on it. Sitting at a halt, Rando asks him to ignore the Geiger counter. Local tales are far more important. The lieutenant thinks he's talking nonsense and offers to leave, but the doctor across the way is going to take him on board. The lieutenant tries to change the girl's mind, but she doesn't like what he says and orders him to leave her alone. He and Rando go farther into the forest. They have similar maps they can use to find the exact path. A little later, they come across a warship standing between the mountains. Trying to find help, Kate goes back to May's place. Her apartment has already been broken into by the Monarch's employees, but the girls manage to escape. Kate sends a message to Kentar, asking him to call her back, but Tim has already found him. He orders the files to be returned to him. Otherwise, he and his friends are in big trouble. Trying to help her son, the mother distracts Tim. This was enough time to escape. Rando tells her that this ship sank in 43 at a distance of 8,000 kilometers. Meanwhile, the lieutenant pulls out to a bright glow and instantly turns around. Inside the ship's compartment are surprisingly fresh bodies. Somewhere in Tokyo, the entire trio reunites and arrives at Colonel Shaw's house. He quickly realizes that Hiroshi's children are in front of them. He hints that they could swallow the lie about their father's death or run away right now. While exploring the ship, the duo is attacked by a Titan. Things could have ended tragically if Shaw hadn't come to the rescue. But just as they run outside, the monster comes out to hunt. If you want a sequel, just let us know in the comments. See you very soon. Bye.